Welcome to the Ocean Community 50 Under 50 series, presented by the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce. The road to success starts at Valenti family of auto dealerships, and visibility along the journey increases greatly with the help of 321 Media. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Ocean Community Chamber of Commerce's 50 Under 50 series, powered by Valenti family of dealerships and 321 Media. My name is Ben Barber from 321, and I am so excited to be sitting down once again with one of the people who are being recognized as one of the 50 Under 50 in our community. Today, I'm sitting down with Allison Palmer. Allison is the co-owner of Mystic Cycle Center and so much more, and we're going to get into that right now. Allison, how are you?
I'm good, Ben. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to do the uncomfortable part of the show now where I read your bio in front of you to you, okay?
Okay.
And you can tell me if there's any inaccuracies. But this is a little bit of why you're being recognized here.
Mm-hmm.
Allison is the co-owner of Mystic Cycle Center, a thriving bike shop she runs alongside her husband, Christopher.
Mm-hmm.
The pair purchased I love that. The pair purchased the business in July 2020, right in the heart of the pandemic. You're not kidding. With a mission to create sustainable careers, nurture long-term customer relationships, and uplift their community through the power of cycling. Under Allison's leadership, the business has grown significantly, increasing wages by 22% and offering full health, dental, and vision coverage. Can I work for you? An unprecedented move in the bike retail industry. Mystic Cycle Center has been recognized since as a platinum level retailer of excellence by the National Bicycle Dealers Association and a top 100 Trek retailer. Allison has made a major impact on the local community. She serves as vice president of Bike Stonington, a local advocacy group working for equitable transportation. Through collaboration with the town and state officials, she's pushed for bike-friendly infrastructure, including bike lanes and safe spaces for cyclists. Allison is also a board member of the Stonington Juvenile Review Board, supporting youth in trouble, love that, by providing mentorship and community service alternatives to the court system. Her commitment to goodwill extends beyond the shop. Allison regularly partners with local organizations such as Kinship for Kids, Community Speaks Out, and the Stonington Police Department to provide bicycles to families in need, promote bike safety education, and support local youth initiatives. In her downtime, what downtime? Allison enjoys spending time with her family, including their newborn son, Griffin, as well as hiking, biking, camping, and exploring national parks. Allison Palmer!
Ben.
How do you even have time for this interview today?
Oh, man. Well, we just had our son 3 months ago.
Oh my
God. So that's been amazing. And we are doing the balancing act, which the business honestly taught us a lot about before now, with just balancing being mom, dad, husband, wife, and business owners. So we've gone into this chapter with just a lot of experience and learning and knowing that when you have plan A, you chuck it out because you're probably going to need plan B.
Yeah.
Just that flexibility.
And you know, the first thing that you have to learn when riding a bike, balance.
That's it.
Yeah. I've never been good at balance, which is why I was never good at riding a bike. But so what led you to purchasing the business in 2020?
So it was actually the career move I never saw coming. My husband worked there for 7 years, and he had the opportunity from the previous owners to purchase the shop. And this is something that has been his dream for a long time. You know, he was kind of in a place of like, what am I going to do if I don't do this? So we were trying to figure that out for him. And then he had this opportunity. And we had this bright orange dinner table at the time. And I remember sitting at that dinner table, and he and I would have conversations about what it would look like if we purchased the bike shop. And he started asking me, would you consider becoming involved in being a partner? And I was really hesitant because being, you know, in a relationship and then also mixing work with that is very difficult. And I wasn't like, I just knew that wouldn't be an easy thing to do. So I actually said no to him multiple times before I finally agreed to do it. And when I did, you mentioned it was we took ownership in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
We were also so crazy that we were getting married in September of that year. So we were planning our wedding as well.
You are the second person that I have spoken to in this room today that got married in September 2020.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was wild. And it was crazy. The state recognized our marriage. They like sent us this plaque because you had to, when you were doing it and it wasn't at like a venue, we were at his family's property.
Yeah.
You had to have everything approved by the state. So my mother-in-law, she helped me like get everything approved through the state, but it was just wild because we're like trying to figure out how to be new business owners. Everything in the world's on back order.
Yeah.
The bike industry like just was booming because people wanted to be outside.
Right.
So just the whole experience of coming into it was a pretty crazy, wild experience that like, it feels like 10 years ago. And it also feels
it was 5. It's half a decade ago now,
I know.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy that it was 5 years ago.
Yes.
I don't want to think about that too much.
I know. Me either. Me either.
How has the biking industry changed in the last 5 years, though? Has it stayed? Do you see people still wanting to? Obviously, I don't think anything's going to be as high as that boom of we can't do anything else. We should bike.
Right.
Like, we should get outside more. We should, do that more. But do you see, has that been a trend that continues? Like I drove my car, for example, just walking versus driving and doing, and staying around town and doing those things.
Right.
I got a lease in 2019 that had, it was a 12,000 mile a year lease.
Yeah.
It was 12,000 miles a year. I put 20,000 miles on it in the first 11 months, and then COVID hit. And then I still have not put 20,000 miles on it since in the last 5 years.
Right.
So I went from 20,000 a year to 4,000 miles a year driving.
Right.
Like it's insane. And so I do other things now like that. So have people's habits changed? Has the biking stayed consistent since then?
So, our whole focus has been keeping people on their bikes and making sure they're maintaining that interest in them. And that's a big part of like, we've seen such an uptick in cycling. And not just like, I think when we think of cycling, this is an important thing to say. We think of like the historical picture of it, which is like the white male in spandex on a road bike. And that is not, we're trying to shatter that. We want people to know, like, if you ride a bike, it doesn't matter where you go, how far, what you're riding, what you look like you're on a bike, you are a cyclist. So that's huge for us. We want everybody to feel like when they walk through our doors, they belong. Because there's been this stigma when you walk through a bike shop, like that you're getting judged, like, do you look like you ride a bike? How far do you go? How fast are you?
Right. People that don't look like Lance Armstrong. I know that's
exactly. No, that's exactly what we're
thing now. But people that don't look like Lance Armstrong, like
right.
If I was to walk into your bike shop, it's like I'm not going to the Tour de France. Like,
and you don't have to. And that's the thing. Like for me, even, and a lot of us on the team, like we don't ride to be fast. We just get on our bikes. Like I like to just kind of mosey around and look around and see what's going on. But so my point is we want people to stay interested in that. And so it's connecting with them. It's keeping those connections strong. It's asking how they're doing. How is your bike? But we've definitely noticed like there was this huge uptick really fast. And now it's just trying to maintain, of course, I think that's going to decrease a little bit because other interests are, you're able to like go travel, which you weren't really able to do during COVID. Like you can do those things that you loved now. So it's making it still relevant for people.
Yeah. Was it important to you? It's in the bio, increasing wages, offering health and dental, unprecedented in your bike retail industry. Like, was that an important thing to you to?
Super. Yeah, it was super important because remember, we were on the other side of it. So we felt it when, I had a job, I was in the marine industry directly before I came into the bike industry. And I had a great job. I was with a very renowned company. They took care of their people. They paid well. They gave benefits packages and went above and beyond with that. So coming into the bike industry and seeing really just how antiquated it was, low wages, no benefits packages, like it was a place where people couldn't stay long term. And if you're going to run a successful business, you have to take care of the people who take care of you.
Yeah.
So that was huge. And knowing just like how much Chris knew, like if he didn't own the bike shop, he probably couldn't stay there forever. Like he loved it. That was his passion. And to find a job you love is like, you know, something everybody's looking for. They're looking to achieve that.
Yeah. That's the dream, especially today, to be able to do what you love every day.
Yes.
That's really cool. I love
Thank you.
that. And did it mean a lot to be recognized then as a platinum level retailer by excellence of a retailer of excellence by the National Bicycle Dealers Association?
Yeah, that was a huge bright spot because again, that was in the midst of all of the pandemic stuff.
Oh, wow.
We faced, like, we had bikes that were backward. I think somebody waited as long as 2 years to receive a bike they put on order.
Oh my God.
So we had a situation where people wanted bikes and we couldn't get them. And the only way people could is if they put a deposit down and then waited the length of time. So we had to develop these systems within our organization of like, how do we keep people in the loop so they know like your bike is still on track? This is the estimated delivery timeline, which was coming up and getting pushed back constantly. So it was like this yo-yo of not knowing how things were going to go.
Wow.
So remind me, what was the question?
Oh, just
the recognition.
Yeah, the recognition.
I'm sorry, this is where like my brain just.
Listen, I'm on the same wavelength. It's fine. I have notes in front of me. You don't, so it's fine.
But so with all of those hurdles and challenges that our entire team was facing to get that recognition, that was really just like astounding. We were thrilled.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
Let's talk about the stuff that you do in your local community.
Yeah.
You were before we went on air, you were talking about Bike Stonington.
Yes.
Tell me about that. You serve as the vice president, and what's going on there?
So I work beside Jen Lacker. She's wonderful. She's taught me so much. And together we try to we team up with the town. We've worked with the state's Department of Transportation, the local PD, to provide transportation equity to our streets. And what that means is basically anybody, no matter what their mode of transportation is, has access directly to the destinations that they want to reach. And it's less about like, there's this a huge divide, I feel like, between like car versus cyclist. And it's not about car versus cyclist. It's about the two simultaneously coexisting together.
Yeah.
So that's like in a nutshell, kind of what we focus on. And
there are things that you need both for, right? Like that's great. Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. And it's also too like it's seeing that like different people have like there's socioeconomic barriers, right? So you don't want to just say like, oh, sorry, like if you don't have these things, like you can't have direct access to where you work or healthcare facilities or whatever it might be. You still want to provide that for people so they can, you know, get to where they need to go, and not have to go out and around to do so. We've had, you know, pedestrian and bicycle injuries and fatalities. And so it's just about when the roadways are built in a way where they can already accommodate like space for cyclists to be there as well as cars. How do we make sure those things are being implemented and happening?
That's awesome. So that's the advocacy, obviously, that you're working on for that. That's really great. And it shouldn't be a battle between bikes or cars or, you know, one or the other. There are things that you need cars for, but man, it would be a lot better for everybody if, you know, we use them less. And
with the pandemic, you know, you mentioned that ridership grew by like 300%, which was crazy for us to see that boom.
Yeah.
So now, you know, you look out the window and you're more apt to see bikes, electric scooters, even anything that's like rolling or walking, like just having that space for those people.
Yeah, that's really cool. What about the Stonington Juvenile Review Board and
This is
being
my
a mentor?
favorite.
Okay, let's hear it.
So I love being able to be on this board, because you have, kids in the community who are school age, middle school, high school level, and they might have gone through some sort of adversity as far as like they got themselves into trouble. Typically, well, to be able to be a candidate for this review board, it has to be a first offense. So instead of just putting them through a court system and then having them, face the potential of having a record now, this gives them the alternative option to come in front of the board, explain what happened. We can then discuss as a team and say, okay, this is how we want this to move forward. Whether it's, a community service opportunity, taking them on, like we had a student who came into the bike shop and did some volunteer work, and just mentoring as you can. And it's wonderful. You always leave like wishing you could do so much more. And that's the really hard part about it. And especially because I was doing it before I was a mom, that was also really hard too. Like you want to be able to do so much more, but I work with incredible people. I work with human services on that board. I work with the Stonington Police Department. There's a local pastor in town who's on the board, a local lawyer. So it's a lot of community people who just come together, and we just try to make a better situation for these kids and let them know like somebody believes in them. Like, hey,
so important.
Yeah. And you know what? We all are human. We make mistakes. And like to know that somebody believes that like this doesn't define you and the way your future has to go. I mean, that everybody needs that.
Oh, that's makes me want to cry. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Have you always lived here?
Yeah. Well, so I lived in Westerly till I was about 9, and then we moved to North Stonington.
Okay.
And now I'm back in Westerly. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bulldogs or bears? I'm kidding. It's fine. It's fine.
Well, so I went to Wheeler.
I was just gonna say,
we didn't even have a football team. Yeah. Class of like 39 or 49 kids.
I was gonna say class of 39. You're way too young for that. But you meant class of 39 kids. That's crazy small.
Very small.
That's crazy small. That's like a tenth of the size of my class at Cherahoe.
Yeah.
I think. So wow.
That was wild. Yeah. And that was good and bad. It was great because you got the attention you needed, and you weren't lost sight of. Teachers knew everybody. But bad in the sense that it was so small that things could get kind of cliquey, and like, there weren't as many kids to like, I don't know, find where you fit,
Yeah.
So, but I think high school is hard for everybody.
That's not what I've heard. I'm kidding.
You couldn't pay me enough to go back.
I know. I used to think about going back, and now I'm like, no way would I ever want to be anywhere near that.
No. We're on the same page there.
You work with a lot of other organizations though. The Kinship for Kids, Community Speaks Out, Stonington Police, like I think you talked a little bit about the Stonington Police work that you do, unless it's separate from what you do.
We also try to do like biking education for kids in elementary school. And we've gone into the school systems and done like hands-on demonstrations with them, alongside Officer Friend and former Officer Browning. She's moved on since, but she was wonderful as well. And they've been great partners for us. So to do that, to put on like bike safety events and teach about wearing helmets and how to approach intersections and signal which way you're going, like that's been amazing to do with them.
That's incredible. And what about the kinship?
So that actually is a tradition that we carried on from the original owners of the bike shop, Rick and Rob. And that is through a woman named Linda Cody, who is absolutely wonderful, like total salt of the earth person. But she heads this effort with us to get all of these foster kids bikes for Christmas. And every year our team is amazing. They go through all of these donation bikes. The community is amazing too, because they rally around it and they bring in bikes all year long. So if you have a donation bike or a bike in your garage or shed and you want to get rid of it, please bring it on down to us, because then our team basically goes through, makes sure it's safe, it's working well. We'll replace certain parts if we need to. And we give them as many bikes as we can at the end of the year.
Wow.
So that's been that's one of my favorite things that we do all year long. Just knowing like the impact of a kid getting a bike on Christmas.
Yeah. And what is Community Speaks Out?
Community Speaks Out is also close to heart for us as well. So that this year we did that for the first time. At Kinship for Kids, we were so sad they couldn't take a donation this year.
Oh no.
So we had to find another nonprofit, and Community Speaks Out was perfect because they help recovering addicts get back on their feet. And it's wonderful because, you know, sometimes people need transportation. And so to be able to team up with them and provide bikes so that somebody can get their life, you know, back on track to where they want to be, that was fantastic for us. And I think everybody can relate to addiction and knows somebody. And it was very close to our heart to do that.
Good God. You and Chris are wonderful human beings.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I think you have to be a good community partner.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah. Let's talk, if you're okay with it. Griffin.
Oh.
How's that going? 3 months?
Oh,
that's
man.
Crazy.
He's just like the joy of my life. I mean, everybody tells you like you never know a love like your own child, and you go, yeah, okay, you know, and then you have your own child and it's just like literally my heart out of my body is how I feel. He just like, you can be having like, you know, not great of a day or whatever, and he just smiles and your whole day is better. He's amazing. And if I never did anything else in my life other than being his mom from like this point on, I would just feel like that is totally fine. I'd feel complete by that because he's just he's wonderful.
Aww.
And you know, I think everybody has their own journey, you know, whether they want kids or not.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I wanted kids and was so terrified of like all the things you can't control.
Sure. They're terrifying.
Yeah. And I ended up getting the clarity I needed to know I wanted at least one. And so that was wonderful to get that clarity. And then, you know, my husband and I are very transparent. Like we had some loss along the way of trying to have our first child. So when we actually got Griffin and like laid our eyes on him, it can make me emotional. So I'm gonna try not to cry. Like it was just like this like dream come true. And I just can't wait to experience. He's just like magic in our life. Like all these little things you would overlook otherwise, you're now just like witnessing magic daily, multiple times a day.
So cool. That's awesome. Is it difficult with both of you being in the business to, I would imagine, like, you know, obviously two parents working is a thing that everyone deals with, and, you know, or most people deal with for a very long time now, normal in society.
Right.
But to have them working in the same business and being co-owners of the same business, and, you know, now it's like, okay, well, if it's a big thing, both of us need to be there. And like, is it better or worse, or just it's different? And, you know, life is life.
I would say, honestly, I'm gonna go with better because, you know, I think my husband would be proud of me for saying that. Because what I see is that, like, yeah, we're dividing and conquering, and I've always been more back end of the business while he's been more front end, and we just know our roles. And with Griffin now, what we do is we basically just figure out like what we each have going on for the week, and there's a ton of dividing and conquering. Like he's with Griffin right now, and I'm here with you. He'll have practice later and I'll be with Griffin. So it's a lot of dividing and conquering, but Griffin can also come to work with us.
Yeah.
And some days that goes great. And then there's some days where Griffin has, where it's Griffin's world, and that's fine. He's a baby, and some days we'll go in and we're like, okay, we're going to get all this stuff done. And Griffin has his own plan, and you have to be flexible within that. And that's the way business is too.
Yeah.
You can have a plan, but again, I said it in the beginning, throw it out the window.
I love that. Practice for what? What is he?
So he is a volunteer coach for, it's called New England Youth Cycling.
Oh, nice.
And they have a team it's out of like Bradford and Charlestown, the Burlingame Badgers.
Oh my God. Love that name.
Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
He does that. He loves it. It's such a cool thing in the community for middle school and high school kids. But yeah, it's mountain biking for young kids.
That's really, really cool. And obviously, you guys love biking, hiking, camping. Do you camp at Burlingame ever?
Yes, yeah. we have our favorite site at Burlingame.
I'm sure you do. Everyone does.
Yeah.
And then exploring national parks. What was that?
Well, so we haven't done our bucket list national park trip, but we will. That's on our list someday. But we do like to go explore wherever we travel to. We love to check out whatever parks are near us. We did a really cool trip a couple years ago down the Blue Ridge Parkway, which was really awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, and there were all these campgrounds along the way, so we camped the whole time and just every day found a different spot. We didn't have really any solid plan, just kind of going by the seat of our pants. And that was really fun. So we just love anything outside.
How excited are you for Griffin to get to the age where you can take him with you?
Yeah, I mean, so we actually have a trip planned for 4th of July.
Oh, nice.
We'll go to the Cape. We're camping. That will be his first camping trip.
I love that.
And he'll be just 6 months old. And we're like, you know what? The sooner we do it, the sooner he'll get used to it. And it will just be normal for him. Yeah. So he's getting thrown right into it.
Love it. That's amazing. Start him young.
That's it.
And I'm sure he'll be able to ride a bike before anyone. He's probably already 3 months old.
He kicked in my belly the whole time, and he's still kicking out of the womb. So he's
just ready for a pedal.
Oh yeah. Something to put those kicks towards.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you to be selected as one of the 50 under 50?
Well, it means a lot. I remember learning about these awards, like the 50 under 50 or 40 under 40, whatever that type of award was, when I worked at the marina. One of my coworkers, his wife received the award. And I remember having this internal feeling of wow, that's such a big accomplishment. And so much of the work that you do, it's just, you do it and a lot of people don't see it, and that's okay. I don't think you should do it because you're looking for recognition or applause or anything like that. You should do it because it feels good to you and feels like the right thing.
Yeah.
But to have somebody say I see you and I see everything you're doing, that, I mean, all of us want validation, right? So that feels so good. And I don't know, I know it was a lot of work for you and the chamber and, the whole board who decided to have to go through all of these profiles and applications. And it's really cool. It's something I always, at that moment when I heard about it, it was something that was always in the back of my mind. And I'm getting to the point where, time's going by and it's going quicker and quicker. And I was I don't know if this is something that's ever going to actually happen. And then to get that email, I was just just psyched. It was really cool.
That's awesome. Well, it's well-deserved. This has been one of my favorite conversations. I love getting to meet the people that I haven't met yet during this process. And so far you've been one of my favorites of that.
Oh, thanks, Ben.
So it's been an absolute pleasure.
Right back at you.
And this has been fantastic. Mystic Cycle Center, anything you want to plug before we go?
Just honestly, I mean, if you need a bike, come down and see us. We're happy to see you. But really, just do something you're passionate about. Have discipline within that. I think that's the biggest thing, is discipline. And the biggest difference is in the smallest details. Don't don't overlook those small details because they're everything.
The biggest difference is in the smallest details.
Mm-hmm.
Allison Palmer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for being here. Guys, we'll be back with another episode of 50 Under 50. Allison Palmer, Mystic Cycle Center. So well deserved. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ben.
We'll see you guys soon. Bye for now.
Bye.